And she talked about how this was probably the very first time she'd seen her children smile since they left their father, who was still fighting in the Ukraine. Well, Sleep in Heavenly Peace is a Canadian nonprofit charity that brings community volunteers together to build and then later install handmade twin-size beds for children in Winnipeg here that do not have a bed to sleep on. So these are children that literally are sharing a bed with a parent or a sibling, or are sleeping on a couch or a stack of cushions or something of that nature, or in some worst cases, actually sleeping on the floor. I first heard about the organization in 2019, and I happened to watch a profile of the organization that was operating down in the U.S. At that time, there was nothing in Canada, and I thought to myself, this is exactly what we need here in Winnipeg. I was a Winnipeg police officer for 28 years, and so on a regular basis, I would be in homes of individuals where you couldn't help but notice how the kids were sleeping or living, their sleeping conditions. And I came to realize that this was a significant problem that we had in the city. So when I saw the profile about the organization in the U.S., I knew right away that this is something that we need to have here in Winnipeg. So I began to do my due diligence, and I looked into the organization. In 2020, we announced an opening of a chapter here in Winnipeg, and we started building beds. Of course, that was COVID. And so things came to a grinding halt for us, but we were able to build 88 beds that first year, and we've just grown every year since. And so here we are starting our 6th year. We're now at 1,470 beds built and about 1,400 of those installed. So we're very happy with that. But there's a lot of work to do yet.
About 2 years ago, a friend of mine, Ravi Ramaran, the owner of the Four Crowns Inn, he was doing an install event and asked for volunteers, just actually with regular customers in his bar. And I volunteered and went and did a delivery with them on Saturday. That's where I met Jim. And I just thought it was such a great experience that I felt that I needed to do it again. And the next Monday, I did a presentation, just whipped something up with like pictures that we used during the install and presented it to Manitoba Blue Cross, and then we just started getting involved from there. And it's just such a great charity.
There's so many things about this organization that we find rewarding. I would say probably the biggest thing for us, the thing that keeps us coming back time and time again, is the smiles on the children's faces.
When you do an install and they see that, like some of these kids, they may never have had a bed before. And I remember one story about a kid from Nigeria who was sleeping on a tarp for most of his life, and that in a refugee camp. So it's like that kind of thing. And then him, like saying, I've never had a bed before. And it really gets to you, but it's just such a great experience seeing those smiles. And tears sometimes.
You expect the children to be happy about it, and when you see it, it just hits you right in the heart. The other thing is, I think that's caught us all off guard a little bit, I think, is the reaction of the parents. Quite often, 99% of the time, we're dealing with a single parent situation. These are parents that through no fault of their own are finding themselves in a situation where they need a little bit of a help hand up. And so that's where we come in. And to see the effect that this has on their parents, they're really trying their best to do their best for their children. And to see that someone has made a quilt for them or has helped build a bed for their child means so much to these parents. They're quite often overcome by the emotions, and so are we at the time. So it's a powerful moment.
My story, I have two. There was one of a little boy who started crying because he didn't get a bed that day. So I took, when this happens, we tend to have extra comforters or something like that to give to these children. For whatever reason, they might be too young to get the bed at that time. And I just took one of the comforters and I got down to his level, gave it to him. He immediately stopped crying and just started laughing. And I'm like, do you want me to open it for you? And he's, yes. And so I opened the comforter, gave it to him. He goes running off and jumping on the bed. just ready to go. My second story was a little girl who was very quiet, and her bed was done, and I just saw that there's this very tall wardrobe next to the bed. And I pointed to the wardrobe and I said, you know what, if you connect a sheet up there, this will make an awesome fort. And then her mouth turned up, she started smiling, and just, you could see the wheels churning in her head. She's making plans. I don't know if her mom was really happy with that, but it was still quite a little great memory for me.
I have dozens and dozens of what I'd call favorite memories. I have two. I think probably the very first bed that we ever built, it was a bunk bed, and we built it at the request of a member of the Rotary Club who came to us and talked about a family that he was sponsoring. It was a mother from, I believe it was from Nigeria, and she had two young children, one of whom had never slept on a bed before. In fact, had spent their entire life in a refugee camp and had been sleeping on a tarp his whole life. That was a powerful one for us. I think one that the story that I tell probably most often now is about a family that we came to learn or know as a result of the influx of Ukrainian refugees as a result of the war. And this was a single mother who had come, or a mother who had come with her two daughters. And the two daughters were, I believe it was 6 and 9, something of that nature. And when I first met them, prior to the installation of the bed, I noticed that the children were very quiet, very withdrawn, shy. And the mother was explaining to us, about how she had just come to Canada from the Ukraine. And we made arrangements to install the bed for the family, and we went in, and it just so happened that on that particular event, it was myself that was there to do the installation. So I saw the children again, and I talked to them again, and they were still very shy. And we went into the room. We do what we call the grand reveal, where we go in and we close the door in the bedroom and we install the bed and make it look really nice. And then we open the door and we let the kids and the parents come in. And the children, of course, now were very excited. They were smiling and they were very happy and they were jumping on the beds. And I turned and I looked at the mother who was standing in the doorway, and there were tears in her eyes. Excuse me. And she talked about how this was probably the very first time she'd seen her children smile since they left their father, who was still fighting in the Ukraine. And so it was a very, very powerful moment for me, because, you can just imagine, or actually you can't imagine what that would be like, I think, to see that kind of thing. So, that's one that sticks with me. And I tell that story whenever I can.
Many ways. Donations through their website. Even you can get on the volunteer list. I think you can do that through the website as well. Get on the volunteer list through the website, or come to Manitoba Blue Cross and drop off some sheets and pillows, and we'll make sure they get to the right place.
Well, the community is the lifeblood of our operation. We rely on not only community for our donations. We're a nonprofit organization. Nobody in our organization is paid for anything that we do. We're all volunteer. So we rely on the community to help us with donations of bedding, of cash that we use towards our mattresses and our lumber for the beds. So community is a big part of it. But I think we are always looking for volunteers to come out and help us build our beds, to help us install our beds. We are looking to increase our core group, which is the vital part of our organization. They're the individuals that help us run a build event, which is where we actually build our beds. So, we're always looking for community volunteers. They can reach out to us through our Facebook page. My phone number is there. My email is there. They could contact Manitoba Blue Cross. They can reach out to us through, as I said, through our email. We'll connect them with our volunteer coordinator, and we'll find a spot for them.